down, your need for a wheelchair is not a handicap. So handicap can be physical or it can be attitudinal. I think most handicaps are attitudinal. um, Impairment is when a significant loss, like we say visually impaired, because there's a loss of a one full chunk of your sensory. We say hearing impaired, yeah. So but impairment means when in the body structure or function there is a significant loss or impairment or difference, right? And restriction can be in both. It could be in activity or it could be in participation. So I hope these words are clear.
Shall I have a question?
Yes,
What do
please.
you mean by attitudinal handicap? I don't know
Atti-
why, but I feel like a lot of us might have that.
Attitudinal handicapped is assuming something about someone from what you see on at face value. So if somebody
Mm.
is a wheelchair, and I'll give you an example. One of our supervisors is this young girl with cerebral palsy. Yeah, and there are many times that she participates with me to speak at forums like this. And for somebody to assume that just because she has cerebral palsy, she doesn't have a rocking social life is a attitudinal handicap, right?
Okay.
So not calling her to a drinking club is a handicap, is an attitudinal handicap that will get in her way of being able to participate. So attitudinal handicapped is when you assume something. Usually it is from the other person, not
Yeah,
from
yeah,
not from
yeah.
me, right? And everything, ageism, sexism, all these are attitudinal handicaps,
Correct.
right? So attitudinal handicap is when somebody assumes something or when there's a judgment on something, or when somebody with a diagnosis or a disability or a condition is not able to participate because others have told that person that you can't do it. That is
Mm.
also an attitudinal handicap.
Beautiful.
Yes, is
Thanks
that
for
what you were asking, Anu?
yes, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Usually, this is the symbol for handicap world over, and I appreciate it. It is a much used, much recognized symbol. So it's great that we are seeing it. But what we see is this, and this is what it is. Yeah, it is all kinds of disabilities. And then it is somebody who can look like just like you and me. And you would never know. These are called the invisible disabilities. Okay, so for those of you who have a pen and paper, it'll be good if you pull it out now. And if at least a couple of you switch on your cameras, it'll be good. It'll make me feel really good. Thank you, Varshanjali. That's a pretty name. Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you, Ritesh. And thank you, Ramya. Okay, everybody has a pen and paper. Thank you, Shrifani. Shrifani or Shrifani. What a lovely name. And thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Okay. Now, um, everybody, for those of you who it's just, and I'll explain to you. This is something very simple, but I'll explain to you. Hold, if you write with your right hand, hold the pen in your left hand. If you write with your right hand, hold the pen in your left hand. And if you write with your left hand, hold the pen in your right hand. So you're holding the pen in your non-dominant hand. Okay? In your non-dominant hand, keep the pen ready and just write this with your non-dominant hand. And after this, all of you are going to show what you've done on screen, and we are all going to horribly judge all of you. No, I'm just kidding.
Can you please show the screen again?
I'll
What we need
need
to
the
write?
I'll need the sentence again.
Oh, sure, sure, sorry. Oh, I thought you'll memorize it. You should have memorized it. Like a teacher, I'll quickly show it and then put it away. and expect all students to just memorize it. It is not easy to do things when we are not fully in control. And that's it. You have to remember it and write with your non dominant hand and get ready to be judged. Okay, that's it. Put your pen down. Time up. Exam over. Who's going to show? It's voluntary. Anybody can show. And you'll have to turn off the
Okay, give me a second.
yes, please. Anu, let's go with Anu. Let's just put her in the spotlight.
Sure. There we
So
go.
bad, Anu. Is this the way you write? And you haven't even finished writing what you were supposed to. What do I do? Do I mark you on it and send a note home to your parents? I think we should do that. So bad. And I'm so sorry, Anu. Okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
So bad. Yeah. This is what typically happens in a classroom if somebody has a condition like dysgraphia or dyslexia. They can't read as fast and then they can't write because they just can't write. Their mind. Thank you so much, Kamala. Thank you. How was it? Who wants to share? What did it feel like? Wants to share what did it feel like?
I felt very stressed that I was going to be judged.
Yeah, very stressed. Did you try really hard though?
I did, and my Y's were going all over the
All
place.
over. But was everybody trying? Thank you, Anja. Anuja. Was everybody trying? Anybody else?
Yes, I was trying and it was little frustrating and I felt very restricted
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm not able to.
You felt restricted. I mean, you're trying so hard, but you can't coordinate your mind and your hand. And this is typically what happens if somebody has a learning disability, somebody has dysgraphia, somebody who has cerebral palsy, because you cannot just f- get it functioning. You know what you want to write, but your hand is not listening. You can't direct it. And it is so frustrating in schools because some gentleman said, could you put it back on the screen again? Because you're reading and you're stressed and it's gone and you haven't memorized it. You were supposed to. And then you know that, oh, I have to show it, and everybody else would have written beautifully except me. Now, here, of course, nobody would, right? But imagine if everybody else was writing with their correct hand and you were writing with your non dominant hand. So, just an idea, because it's very difficult to understand exactly what a person with a diagnosis feels like or goes through it day after day, class after class, rest of their lives. And they hear it from home, they hear it from school, they hear it from the community, then from grandparents and uncles and aunts, especially if you have a hidden disability like learning disability or autism. Because if you have somebody with a broken leg, yeah, it's there, I can see it. I also truly feel that even with we give so much of attention to mental disability, we don't give that much attention to mental illness. So, supposing I had a broken leg, or supposing Dolly, you had a broken leg, and you clearly had a plaster and you had a crutch, and I kept telling you, get up and walk, yeah, what's the big deal? टांग ही तो टूटी है, तो क्या हो गया, उठो यार, it's no big deal. दवाई तो खाली है ना, क्या है? Why can't you walk? It's like that when people just dismiss things like anxiety and depression and bipolar, and they think just because it doesn't manifest itself, and just because you haven't broken out into a physical rash, or you're not wearing a plaster on your heart, it's not a condition that you need to give any significance to. So I truly believe that the hidden conditions that don't manifest themselves physically are very difficult for people to understand and empathize with. So physical disability, yes, but mental illness and hidden disabilities, we still have a long way to go. Let's do one more. Okay, let us calculate. And it's a math problem. And remember, math has only one answer. You can't have multiple answers to this question. and you can use a calculator, provided you know what you have to do.
Can you repeat the question, madam? What to
It's
do now?
you were supposed to listen to me the first time.
No, madam, I was just out
I'm a very bad
for the
teacher.
class.
No,
No,
you
no,
just have to add. You have to add these numbers. There are lots of numbers. You just need to add them all.
it's a separate number 2867 or
I
so.
I don't know. It's there. I've written it.
Okay, okay.
It's really clear. Anybody wants to give me their answer? It's very simple. It's a grade 2 question. What's going on? Okay. Anybody just start coming up with the answers.
I tried to separate these numbers. So I did 28 plus 9 is
Just give me the
37.
answer. Just give me the answer.
There's a multiple answers.
No,
There's
one
the
math, only one answer. How can you have multiple answers? Okay, I'm just going to stop the screen share. Answer. Who's going to give me the answer? Anu, what did you get?
37. I think
Okay.
there's an answer in the chat. It says 38604
Yeah.
and 385734. We have 3860. Couple of answers in the chat.
Couple of answers. Yeah. It's the same problem. The trick is that if somebody has dyscalculia, they are not going to be able to. This is how they're going to see a very simple sum. Yeah, the moral of the story is not the answer, but how you can see even numbers differently, right? You just write something down and you expect them to understand and do the question. Like, you have that. I don't know whether you're still doing it in schools. You did that division thing with a line and those two curves on the end, and then you bring something down and then you put a plus and all. I used to flunk those questions because I just couldn't understand kiske niche kya likhna hai. So the whole concept of division was lost to me, and I just kept going around in circles in the placement of those numbers, on top, on left, in the ear, bring it down, arrow, take it up. So confusing. So a lot of time, math difficulty has a lot to do with people just focusing on the processes and not really the concept behind something. Okay, this is what it. Yeah, who's going to read this for me? None of us can. Yeah, for somebody with a learning disability, all alphabets look really tricky. For somebody with comprehension who cannot read as fast, who is still learning to decode vocabulary. Yeah, this is tricky. It took me about 10 times to read through it with Google Translate, the synonyms on the side and meaning. And then I had to translate this whole thing into something simpler and write it down before I could figure out what this sentence means. So, for somebody who is still struggling with comprehension, is still struggling with deciphering difficult vocabulary, something like this, anything can read like this. You assume just because you knows and comprehend a sentence, somebody else also does. That's not how it works. This is a good fun activity. Who's going to, not this one, the next one? I'm not showing it on the screen. Who wants to volunteer to try the next activity? Anybody, one person can. Who will? I can't see a lot of people. Let's begin with you, Dolly. Okay?
Okay, done.
Dolly, in the next slide, don't read the word. Okay? Don't read the word. Just read the color that the word is saying. Okay? Don't read
Okay,
the
yeah.
word, read the color, but quickly.
Red.
Red, yellow, blue, purple, green, brown, black.
They're tricky.
Yeah.
And now just read the words, not the colors.
Yellow, red, black, blue, pink, green, brown. I have practiced it so many times. I will be honest. I have done this a lot many times earlier,
Yeah. It is
but
difficult.
it's
It
difficult. Yeah.
is. It is difficult. It is difficult. So this means, how your mind processes things. Like visuals are very easy for us. Even if we read something with the wrong language, we are able to read something जिसमें spelling errors होते हैं. But if we are supposed to comprehend something, it is trickier. Yeah. So we all need to distinguish between reading and comprehension. And we get a lot of students who are fluent readers, but if I ask them a question about what they've read, they don't know. So reading and comprehension are two very, very different things. Okay, let's do some are we good on time?
We have about 10 minutes, and I would like, if possible, leave around 5 minutes for Q&A.
Yeah.
So,
So let's do some question answers, and then if we have time, we'll talk about the myths and the facts. I will also share, Anu, the presentation with you because the next couple of slides are just myths and facts, and you can share them with the participants.
wonderful. Thank you.
It's
That's
not
really
an
fun.
issue. Yeah, let's have some question answers.
Great. So if anyone has a question, feel free to unmute or put it in the chat, and we can take it from there. Anyone? I had one question while people are still coming up with theirs. So when you were talking, Shalu, it felt like, hey, if I think about it so broadly, then I have a disability as well. So in that sense, I feel like it's a bit more inclusive in that, like that. But then on the other hand, I also feel like if I think like that, then will I be able to cater to particular needs or be more understanding of someone who has a more exaggerated version of that? You see what I'm saying? It's a good thing to think like that, but also not maybe.
I get your point, Anu, and but the way I would look at it is that at the core of it, we are all human beings
Yeah,
and our needs are the same. Yeah,
correct.
and that is how I personally like to approach anybody with a condition, and that is how I speak to parents, that at the bottom of it all, it doesn't matter whether you have a condition, whether you have a diagnosis, what is the percentage of your disability on your certificate, it doesn't matter. We all want the same thing. So the students that come to me are 16, 17 and above, and I said an 18-year-old man would want to be with a girl, would want to party, would want to look good, dress good, strut around. Then you come to whether, oh, I want to read or write or become a doctor, an engineer, or where I want to work. No, he wants to be accepted. He wants to have his circle of friends. He wants to be able to flirt. He wants to look good. He wants to watch movies. These are such simple things, right? Except flirting, which most people don't know how to do, but that's another story. But what I'm saying is that it's not rocket science. So, what you need, Anu, is what anybody your age needs, and those are simple things. Then comes, oh, I want to earn this much money. I want to work in Microsoft. I want to drive this car. I want to live in this condominium. I want to travel. That comes secondary. But at the core of it, we're all the same. And that makes it so easy to provide what is needed first. My sense of belonging, my sense of knowing that these are my friends, this is my tribe, and accepted here. I won't be judged here. I'll be listened. Somebody
Yeah.
will tell me, hey, it's okay. That's it. That's what we all want, to be listened to, and somebody to tell us it's all okay. Baki things come much later. So what you said is correct. Disability is much later. I think we are all humans. We are all thankfully still social animals, regardless of the screen time that we have. We still have that bit left in us, and that is what we should be looking at. Everything else is secondary. And yes,
Beautiful.
if in the whole line of ability, if you have somebody in a coma on this side, and you have, let's say, Superman on the other side, we all fall here. Some are closer here, some think they are closer there, but we all fall here.
Yeah.
One of the nicest quotes I read was that the word normal is just a setting on a washing machine. That's it. Beyond that, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for
Thank
that
you.
thought, though, that yes, we all have some bits of impairment or handicap or disability or restriction or limitation. We all have.
Thank you. Thank you for responding to that. There's a comment here from Anuja Bali. She says, leave the parents, even the teachers are not aware, trained, and equipped to work with neurodivergent students. And she also says, actually, washing machine also has many settings for washing. You're on mute, Shailesh.
Correct, correct. Yeah, there you go. Correct. I think it is high time that neurodiversity shouldn't be a separate topic. It should be a part of our education system, whether we are studying B.Ed or whether we are studying it should be that's what I began this workshop with, that it should be a terminology everybody is familiar with. If I tell, oh, that person is old, nobody's going to Google what old means. Everybody knows what old means. That old doesn't mean just an age. It means you may be very active, you may not be active, you could be sensitive, you couldn't be sensitive, you could be a great grandmother, or you could be unmarried, but everybody knows what old mean. It's in its entire spectrum. I don't have to train anybody for understanding the world old, but we have to still train people on what it means to be disabled, what it means to have a mental illness, what is intellectual disability, what is autism. I've known people who are advocates who say that I put it on the thing that, oh, um I have autism or something like that, and they had a wheelchair waiting for that person. So I said, I don't need a wheelchair. So they said, what do you need? He says, I don't need anything. I just stated that I have autism. So, it's still such a mystery. And if we don't start talking about it, if we don't start meeting people with neurodiversity, if we don't start hanging out with people with disability, if we don't see them in malls, in schools, in parties, in gatherings, we will spend the next 10 years trying to figure out in our own little pockets what it means to have a disability or to have a
I
neurodiversity.
have a question. I
Yes,
have a question. You were talking about repetitive behavior, and you said that it is done for safety because it. So, can you elaborate on that?
I will. How many of you have a song that you listen to again and again? How many you have the same food that you listen to you eat again and again? Now that is not repetitive behavior. Why do we do it? It gives us a sense of security. We are familiar with it. I know the lyrics. So every time I listen to it, I feel very empowered that I know it. I know what to expect. Every time if I go to the same guy to have my golgappas, I know what is going to happen when I put it in my mouth. I'm ready for it. It's not like I'm going to get too much chili or too sour. I'm prepared for it. So that is what I meant by safety. Repetitive behaviors are that they get a feeling of safety and they center themselves. Yeah, right? For those of you who are shaking their foot while sitting in this workshop, you're doing it to ground yourself, to center yourself, to feel safe and secure. So, repetitive behavior doesn't mean you're doing it because you have this condition. It is something that all of us do in varying degrees. It's just that if it is too much, too visible, and in a public place where it's disturbing everybody else, then we try and tell students not to do it. If it is getting in the way of you being able to do a task that you're told to, then we try and stop it. Right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anything else?
Do we have any more questions? If not, if everyone's okay and if Shalu, you're okay to speak for another 5 minutes, we would love to see what some of those myths and facts are, if you're okay with it.
Sure, I'm good.
Maybe we'll take the next 5 minutes or so.
So, one myth, people with disabilities are brave and courageous. Well, they're not. They're just like you and I. It requires a lot of support and scaffolding, love and caring for them to adapt, right? To adjust, but they are as brave and courageous as all of us. So this is my opinion. We don't need to put them on a pedestal. Yeah, they're just like you and I. Uh, just like an overweight person like me is not brave and courageous for climbing the stairs. It's just that have to hold on to the railing and make a little bit more effort, but that doesn't make me brave or courageous. All persons who use wheelchairs are chronically ill or sickly, not really. And we spoke about wheelchair users, that you could be using wheelchairs for a number of reasons. None of them have be to do with lingering illness. You could just have hurt yourself. So don't assume things when you see somebody on a wheelchair. Wheelchair use is confining. People who use wheelchair are wheelchair bound. We do not now use the word wheelchair bound incidentally. We say a wheelchair user because it doesn't bind you. To me, it is an assistive device that really empowers you. If I am unable to walk around on my own, but a wheelchair will get me easily from one place to another and give me access to all the things that I want to do, it is adding value to my life. It is enabling me to get around. All persons with hearing disabilities can read lips. No, they can't. Lip reading skills are different for different people. So don't assume somebody who can't hear and is looking at you is going to be able to lip read. Oh, this is my favorite. People who are blind require a sixth sense. No, they don't. They just develop their other senses a bit more. Yeah, but it's practice. It's mostly practice. You guys should try that at home. Just put a blindfold on your eyes and try and walk around your own bedroom. You would be able to do it without bumping. At night, when we wake up and go to the washroom, we walk, right? It's not a sixth sense. It's just that it's familiar and we've done it so many times that we have developed that sense. Uh, Again, this is something that I see a lot, that you assume people are more comfortable with their own community. That's not really true. Inclusive schools are now are really opening up. Once they acquire the social skills and the confidence level to be with everybody else, especially their peer, they are able to. People who live with a disability cannot work, not really. Our office, ECOS, which Anu mentioned earlier, all the people there are people with disability. They all are employed full time and they are really solid workers. And when I say people with a diagnosis who work with me, they're not wheelchair users or people who are blind or deaf, but these are people with intellectual disability and autism and cerebral palsy, and they work really well. In fact, I have fewer problems with them than my regular staff, and I'm glad none of my staff is listening now. Also, are so-called non-disabled typical people, are we obligated to take care of people with disabilities? No, we are not, right? If you feel like it, volunteer. You don't have to run and help anybody who you feel needs help. Most people will ask for assistance or they prefer to look after it themselves. Another one of my favorites, if any child is asking about anything to do with disability, you say, shh, shh, let's not talk about it, not good, so rude. That's not it. Let children ask, please. There's no such thing as a bad answer. And that's what I like to say at my workshops also. There is no such thing as an incorrect or a politically incorrect or an impolite or a wrong answer. Please ask. If you don't ask, you will assume and you will never get another person's point of view. This is another one of my things that I come up with. They go to do it's just the same. They do just the same things. And that's why I mentioned the girl who's my supervisor who talks. And when they said, which is I remember it was one Microsoft workshop, and she was one of the spokesperson. It was demystifying disability, and somebody said, so what was, tell us one one significant time that you remember, something people thought that she'll give something very deep about self realization. And she said, yeah, I slapped a guy. And they said, why? He said, because, he was flirting with my friend and he was my boyfriend. And everybody was really taken aback that, like, really, this person also goes through the same frivolous things that we all do. Yes, she does. You're not always talking about deep meaningful, oh, when I figured out I'm a self independent. No, nothing. She said it was great fun to slap that guy. It was a very fun and very significant thing in my life. And I think it opened up a lot of eyes for participants that, they are not like Mother Teresa's. They are just like you and I. They fall, they falter, they fight, they have best friends, they travel, they make mistakes, and they generally have a great time in life. uh, oh, this is such a taboo topic. I have parents who just, I can see visibly walls come down around them when I start talking about that. Are you even thinking of their sexual health? Are you even thinking about what their basic needs about being with the opposite gender are? They know they are not. And I say this is something that is the only thing that will happen with age. Whether they learn to read or write at the correct age doesn't matter. But their bodily needs are going to show up as soon as they're adolescents. So let's try and talk about it. Let's try and give them the correct information. Let's not assume that they are just going to read and write and do math for the rest of their life and think about nothing else. This, they will always need help. No, they are independent. Usually ask if somebody needs help, or they will ask if they need help. And then power of one. Everybody can contribute to changes. All of you who are attending this workshop today are contributing in your own way. And then this one, of course, we know. This is also something that I've seen enough. Everybody with autism is a genius. No, they are not. There are people who struggle with language. There are people who are non-verbal, who have so many sensory malfunctions that they can't function, they can't step out of their homes. So not everybody is a genius. Then this is also something that we use a lot in our vocabulary, that when you speak to somebody with an intellectual disability, keep your language simple but not childlike. Keep your language simple, not. I'm going to stop here because this is something that I do want to talk about. When you're talking to, I've seen a lot of people, and because I work with adults, so many visitors will come to our institute in all good faith and will talk to somebody who's 20-year-old like, hello, kaise ho? I want to say, why are you talking like that? Do you talk like that to your son or daughter who's 20, or your colleague who's 20-year-old? You need to talk to them normally. Don't throw large vocabulary or complicated sentences, but don't talk to them like a child. Keep your language simple and keep your language clear but not childlike. Another thing that you all will hear as you're working in the same field is, what is a people's first language? You see this a lot in corporates, but I think it makes a lot of sense. People's first language means that instead of saying this person is autistic, you say person with autism, person with Down syndrome. And the reason why you say that is because you're putting the person first and their condition later. So that is what is the norm. Though I personally know a lot of people with autism who are okay being called autistic. So if somebody with autism tells me, hey, listen, what is this person with? You can say this one so is autistic. I'm going to respect that. But usually you say person with intellectual disability, person who is a wheelchair user, person with cerebral palsy. So person first, right? Having said that, when we say somebody who's deaf, we use the word person with hearing impairment. I know for a fact, because a lot of my friends are people who are deaf. They said, please call us deaf. I said, but no, it's more polite to use person with here. He says, because there is no sign language for with, there is no symbol for with. and there is no symbol for impairment. So when you're trying to symbol, person, then you say ved, then you say hearing, and then you do impairment. It's too complicated. Don't use it. Say this, good enough. You say this, deaf, fine. Don't make all these elaborate signs. So I respect that also. But when you're in a corporate, when you're in a workshop, when you're in a community where you're trying to sensitize people, we try and use these words: person with hearing impairment, person with visual impairment. But I know for a fact from the horse's mouth, people who are deaf are okay being called deaf. They call each other deaf, they call each other blind. Yeah, but well, we are not in their close circle, so we will still stick to the people's first language. I think once you know why we are using this language, it's easier to use it. And yes, I personally am okay with whatever anybody else says, so long as their intention is clear. I've attended enough workshop where a lot of people with of stature have stood on the stage and used such big words, correct words, but they wouldn't shake hands with somebody with a disability. On the other hand, I work with volunteers and social workers who sit with severely disabled people in their arms, who are throwing up over them and are pooping over them, and they don't blink, and they hold them with so much grace and love. And then if they say things like, koi baat nahi ma'am, pagal hai bechara, it's okay. It's okay. So you have to look at the intention of the person also before just jumping on the head and says, अरे कैसे बोल दिया पागल है. वो बोलेंगे ठीक है आपने जो बोलना है बोलो और पकड़ लो आप भी. So it doesn't matter. So always, I truly believe if your intentions are clear and if you're trying to make an impact or a difference or join this beautiful world of this wonderful community, it is okay to slip up and use some words. Don't beat yourself over it. It will come naturally to you with time. It still hasn't come to be the 100% correct vocabulary. I try, but it will. Yeah. So be focused on your intention, and it doesn't matter. And ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shalu, and thank you for taking us through the extra bit as well. I think the last part especially was very, very warm and very, very I think it makes the whole topic feel so much lighter and more accessible. Thank you for making it that for us today and for coming here on a Saturday evening. You're right, afternoon is not over yet, and for taking that time. And thanks everyone else for coming as well. Really appreciate it. Anuja has a question. Where are you based and how can we contact you? I think she says. Yeah, I would like to connect, she says. You're on mute, Shalu.
With your permission, I leave my phone number here. And my organization is Evolve Your Solutions. You can find us on Insta, Facebook, on YouTube, etc. And we are based out of Gurgaon. We have 60 young people who are registered with us, who are now getting into internships and jobs, etc. So do go through our social media presence, and it'll give you an idea of what we do. And would be happy to take on questions or sharing of any insights later as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being
Thank
open to that
you.
as well. If you haven't yet filled the feedback form, please do so. And again, we thank you so much for being here. Thanks, Shalu, and thanks
Thank
everyone else.
you.
Have a good rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you, Shalu. Thank you, Anu. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you. Bye.
bye. Bye.